need to secure my business. I need to make investment. How do I do it?
My son is getting older. He will be in secondary school soon. How do I make sure I have enough money for his school fees?
I need to build a house for my children. How do I do it?
The Mpile Unit Trust, managed by African Life Financial Services, an investment product tailored to help you meet your financial goals. We offer different investment vehicles under the Unit Trust to diversify your income and achieve growth on your money. Your future begins by making a decision to invest with us. Fund managers with a track record of over 20 years, trustworthy, secure and reliable. For further information on different investment vehicles, call us on 211-254841. Alternatively, you may send an email to mpile@afrilife.co.zm. We are located at 74 Independence Avenue, Mpile Office Park.
Are you a rising entrepreneur? Have you developed an idea, service or product that is ready to launch? Are you struggling to gain the investment needed to take off? Jacaranda Hub, in collaboration with AfriLabs and GoDo Hub of Nigeria, have just the answers for you. Apply now to join the Mosatunya Pitch Investor Readiness and Financing Program to gain the traction and resources needed to launch your product or service. Come, let's get together and help you hit the ground running. Our vision is to create a community that provides training, mentorship, funding, and visibility to over 100 Zambian startups over a 24-month period. Develop a network with over 200 mentors from Zambia, Nigeria, and other countries. Provide access to local and global investors in order to grow their appetite for Zambia as an investment destination. Are you ready to raise your business to the next level? Apply now by clicking on the link in the description. Jacaranda Hub. Engage, innovate, inspire.
Good evening and welcome to the News Report with me, Ndanji Duncan Simmons. And today's edition of News Report, of course, I'm going to look at some of the interesting stories making headways. And one story has been making a lot of controversy in our community, and this one has to do with cadres. Of course, cadres have become a problem in Zambia in particular. And if you look at our marketplace, our bus station, as well as our community, there's a big gap between the coordination between the cadres as well as the people living around that particular community. Now, joining me on the program to discuss this very issue is Christopher Funda, who is actually a pioneer, a community champion, as we talk about the way forward on this particular issue, which is causing a lot of discomfort in our community. Good evening, Mr. Funda.
Evening, thank you.
Yes, it's lovely to have you on the News Report this evening.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Now, the issue of cadreism has been in our public domain for quite a while. What do you think is the biggest challenge that we are facing now?
Yeah, the challenge is there because the council are not operating accordingly. So is the marketeers. They are also not operating well due to cadreism.
But again, speaking about markets, there has been a complaint to say marketeers are complaining to say that they have been attacked by cadres in terms of maybe operating on their daily business routines. Why is that an issue, and how should we end it?
Well, as I said earlier on, I think it all just goes by the political will to fight cadreism. Government involvement in curtailing cadreism, I think it will help because, marketeers of late now, they've complained of being overcharged by the cadres. And those who are failing to pay, it's either they'll be evicted from the market and then they'll give that to a different person. So I think we need serious government involvement in this issue to ensure that the cadres are derived from the market. I mean, they need to have specific areas where they'll be operating from, not the market.
But not only marketeers, if you have followed the story, there's an aspect of these people who operate in mobile banking booths. They have been saying that every Friday, cadres come and collect money from them as a means of paying tax. Is that legal?
That's not legal, that's illegal. But for them to be doing that, meaning therefore they are getting blessings from somewhere. So perhaps there is a genesis of everything. I think there is nowhere where it is enshrined in the Constitution to say people who are doing business, they have to pay to the cadres. The only people who are mandated to collect tax to Zambians are the councils. In this case, it is Lusaka. We're talking of Lusaka Council, not any other individual, unless they have maybe they have been given that mandate by the Constitution through the Act of Parliament.
Thank you very much for coming through to the program, Mr. Lufunda. That was Mr. Lufunda joining me actually as I was having a conversation with him on the issue of cadres. Now, of course, the bigger question would be, do marketeers know that it is illegal to pay cadres money? Or maybe they know that that's supposed to be done because they're not well educated on what the law says or when it comes to levies, for example. Now, these are bigger questions that we have for the authorities. What are they doing to make sure that cadres do not get illegal money from marketeers? And many other issues that are in markets is that for you to get a place as a marketeer, for example, you have to lobby as a cadre or a supporter of a political party, which should not be the case. We're all Zambians. If at all there's a place for you as a marketeer to be operating your business on, you have to apply for that and get it legally, not because you support a political party. Moving forward as a country, we need to stay away from cadreism because it's a bad vice and it has created negative impact towards our community. The fear that is in people when it comes to cadre is so big that the authority do not fully maybe understand what is really happening on the ground. But it's so bad that our marketeers, including bus drivers, I had an interaction with some few bus drivers just to find out how they operate. And one of the bus drivers told me that every time they load, they pay whenever they're leaving a station to cadres, which should not be the case. Why should they be paying to cadres, not the local authorities who are mandated by the law to collect tax from the hardworking Zambians? So not only that, if you also look at people operating in mobile booths, for example, mobile banking booths, you ask them, they will tell you to say that every Friday, cadres actually come to collect money from them as a means of tax. Who said cadres are allowed to get tax? All these things, people do that because of fear. And then once the system is weak, it becomes even difficult for the law to be observed. And that's the reason why the challenge goes to the authority. What are they doing to make sure that they end cadreism? And also, what are they doing to strengthen institution that collects tax from the people, especially the marketeers? But these and many more stories coming up next. Okay, so welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so we have an issue. Of course, it's in regard to the role of a church, especially in our community nowadays. I don't know if you have followed the recent story of a particular video that has been actually showing on social media feed of a particular pastor, of course, coming strongly in a political view. But what do you think is the role of a church in our community?
Well, the role of the church is to give spiritual guidance to the community, and to speak about injustice and governance issues. It is their role.
Why is it that sometimes that church leaders tend to support a particular political party?
Well, they have a right to continue to support a political party, but if they do, they must argue the case. I mean, I have no problem with pastors or even priests saying this is the reason that I support this particular position. So it's not even about supporting a party. It's to say the country needs to go in this direction. And this is what is right, this is what is just, this is what the Bible says. The problem what we have now is people making these random statements about how God has decided this is the person. God does not decide who is going to rule people, or who is going to rule a nation. It is the nation that decides. And the duty of the church is to direct people towards issues of justice, issues of equality, not to make these statements on behalf of God. And we've seen this a lot in the last 5 years, where, in fact, not in the last 5 years, in this country, you have all kinds of pastors who generally make a statement about the fact that it is this person who is in power. The reason usually is because, of course, those in power have kind of corrupted the church, give them money, do all kinds of, make all kinds of donations, which is extremely unfortunate. I always say that if you look in the Bible, the church, the pastors, the priests should have a distance from those in power. Because their most important role is to hold them to account, actually. Is to say to them, this is not the way to go. The same way like in the Bible, the prophet Nathan said to David, no, you cannot take someone else's wife. What we have now is priests who are so close to power holders that they cannot make comment when they go on the wrong path. So the church has completely lost its direction. It thinks that its role is to say from God. God has said this, but God does not say. And the problem is that they end up blaming God for choosing leaders sometimes who do some very, very unjust.
But don't you think some statement made by the church leaders in church can also influence the church members, looking at maybe they could have had personal views on a particular political party, but because it came out from the pastor or a father of a particular church, it changes their direction of how they view things?
The role of the church is to hold duty bearers and leaders to account across board from a disinterested position.
Now that we are heading to...
The church can speak about corruption. You see, there is corruption, it is wrong. The people are hungry. Resources of the nation should go. Not to say you go and vote for this person.
Now that we are heading towards the August elections, of course, the general elections, as we conclude the interview, what do you think should be the role of the church moving forward?
They should stand on the side of the people. They should stand on the side of social justice. When they speak, they should speak truth to power. That has always been the role of the church. That was always the role of the prophets in the Bible, to say to those in power, look out for the widow, look out for the hungry, do the right thing. Not to make statements about who God loves and who God has chosen. God does not choose leaders. He does not.
Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you very much.
That was Laura Miti joining me as I was having a conversation with her on, of course, the role of a church, especially in this time and era. Now, of course, we're heading towards the general election on August 12th, and it's very important that church leaders preach love and peace as well as unity so that people can have that love for other people. Now, of course, if you have been following social media, there is a video post that has been circulating our social media feed. And of course, this is a video involving Father Rupopa speaking strongly on political ground. And if you look at the video itself, it does clearly indicate to say that this particular person, of course, might be supporting a certain political party. But we cannot have church leaders taking a strong political stance in church. Because like what Rola Miti did make mention to say that the role of a church leader is not necessarily to take a strong political stance, but also to offer but just to offer accountability towards the government actions and promote love and peace, of course. But if you look at this particular video, which I'm going to show you, of course, it's quite an interesting video, and it brings a lot of refreshing minder. It brings a lot of insight to look at what position do the church usually have to take, especially in a time where we already know that the election always bring about its fruits. But a church is always needed to make sure that that gap that is involved during election is met in a more peaceful and unifying way. Take a look at this clip and I'll catch you from the other side.
Michael Chirishasata was delayed to become president. God took him a longer period of time. Mpakumu inilesa mutowosola munasha. Ela sampela kwa for 3 years ukuteka. God to take it for 10 years katwishi ngali salufyanya. So kuli mwe bambita mwagengile mu State House because you are still too much of yourselves until you break down, until you become so soft, until you begin to see that there is only one of us, until you have the vocabulary of love, until you begin to condemn violence every time you open your mouth. As long as God sees this one is dangerous, kyawamba twakitariga ama elections ukukira bambi bakateeke quote me bantu bushikuvya mulaba ndafena mwebene ifwe nga twaisa mpawa mukachimona tukamikaka. Who would want you to rule when we know that when you begin to rule we are going to be scampered in no directions? Instead ulala nokutira tukamibelala oluse ulafwayo kupa iwe nga nakupa first week ngakupuma pali fiance fivo akasumina oli omwana kashi tutikopeni ko bambi ekyo abantu bera ku honeymoon nicho mona mukotship twaikala 7 years kanshire kafe nomba twikale fye babili fye tureri yatureve
Well, quite an interesting clip, of course, and as earlier mentioned, you actually saw for yourself what he actually said in his congregation. Much is needed from our church leaders, and I hope that they will take a strong stance in promoting peace and love in our community rather than taking a strong political stance. And another news story, of course, our kwacha is not doing very well when it comes to a dollar. Actually, kwacha is $1 is equal to 21.44 ngwe. Of course, this indicative may vary from bank to bank, but of course, we can tell that the kwacha can actually increase from 21 to maybe it can even reach 22 if proper fiscal policies are not put in place. And I think I like the fact that the president did make mention to say that they were not going to close the borders because it will actually create a bad impact towards our economy. It's a good step, but of course we are in a pandemic and our economy is performing in a way that it is performing, knowing for a fact that Zambia, we are more on an importation aspect because we import more than we export. So initially, people, when it comes to buying product from other places, they're finding it very difficult and very expensive. Of course, this is also contributing to the decline of our economy. But we hope that something will be done by the government to make sure that they cushion the economy so that we don't maybe go into inflation, or rather we go into a recession, as I might call it. Well, beside that aspect, of course, you can look at the marketplace. The marketplace, of course, as well, it has not been doing very well. I think businesses, as much as the pandemic is in play, marketeers are not trading as usual because they are not having customer baseline as they used to have before the pandemic came to play. So that also has constrained their revenue base. And when it comes to, of course, tax as well, I think ZRA also having challenges in making sure that they get the needed revenue, the needed tax revenue needed to channel to development. Welcome back to the news report. Shocking enough, the Medical Store Limited Managing Director, Mr. Chikuta Mbewe, has been fired with immediate effect. Now, Mr. Chikuta Mbewe, of course, according to the board, he was fired on the aspect, of course, they are saying that they want to retain, or rather regain, the public confidence in the health sector. Of course, it comes as a shocking, especially when we have been hearing a lot of issues happening in the health sector, of course. But it's the story of Mr. Chikuta, of course, that's like the many stories that we have had on the health aspect. It leaves much to be desired because our health system is actually in a mess at this particular point. And not only firing of the former Minister of Health, Mr. Dr. Chitaru Chufya, and reappointing another minister, and firing of the PS of Health and employing another PS does not mean it's enough. I think there's a lot of key players in the health that needs to be removed from the health sector in order to regain, or rather to promote a more environment that people, the general public, can have confidence in, especially looking at what has been happening in the health sector. So it's a good move, and I think we hope that the new appointed director will serve the people and will serve the community and the country itself in a more accord way, looking at the medical ethics, of course, and other aspects. It has been me, Ndanji Duncan Simwanza, on the news desk. It has been me, Ndanji Duncan Simwanza, on the news report. Until next time, it's bye-bye and see you later.
Are you a rising entrepreneur? Have you developed an idea, service, or product that is ready to launch? Are you struggling to gain the investment needed to take off? Jacaranda Hub, in collaboration with AfriLabs and GoDo Hub of Nigeria, have just the answers for you. Apply now to join the Mosatunya Pitch Investor Readiness and Financing Program to gain the traction and resources needed to launch your product or service. Come, let's get together and help you hit the ground running. Our vision is to create a community that provides training, mentorship, funding, and visibility to over 100 Zambian startups over a 24-month period. Develop a network with over 200 mentors from Zambia, Nigeria, and other countries. Provide access to local and global investors in order to grow their appetite for Zambia as an investment destination. Are you ready to raise your business to the next level? Apply now by clicking on the link in the description. Jacaranda Hub. Engage, innovate, inspire.
I need to secure my business. I need to make investment. How do I do it?
My son is getting older. He will be in secondary school soon. How do I make sure I have enough money for his school fees?
I need to build a house for my children. How do I do it?
The Mpile Unit Trust, managed by African Life Financial Services, an investment product tailored to help you meet your financial goals. We offer different investment vehicles under the Unit Trust to diversify your income and achieve growth on your money. Your future begins by making a decision to invest with us. Fund managers with a track record of over 20 years, trustworthy, secure and reliable. For further information on different investment vehicles, call us on 211-254841. Alternatively, you may send an email to mpile@afrilife.co.zm. We are located at 74 Independence Avenue, Mpile Office Park.